We're ready to roll. It's been a long one. Market was looking good this morning until it wasn't. Another case of the Mondays. Holy camole. Although I will say Apple's looking quite nice. Quite nice. So crazy. Trying to figure out what was going on with last Friday, too, man. Give everybody a minute to join up. Appreciate you guys hopping in nice and early. Holy moly, I got Sharky pinging in the chat. Sharky DM me this morning. I don't know if he's going to make it today. He said, what did he say? Not sure I'll be around. My tummy hurts. I had creamy pasta at like 1 a.m. It seems like it was a mistake. So hopefully Sharky's all right. Cream pasta, 1 a.m. Sometimes not always the best decision. But anyways, let's get to it, I guess. Let me see. Show me in the comments you guys are around. Who's out there? We got, oh look, 100 people in the house. All right, that's enough. We got the servers coming in. Look at you guys. Let me check, make sure we're up. Make sure this is going to Twitter. Is it going to Twitter or not? Yep. We're in. Cool. Retweet that. Get that out there. I know it's on the YouTube. Show me some retweets. And we were, what's up? Glenn's in. Steven's in. There it is. If you guys have some tickers to drop, thoughts on snow. Ooh, okay. We can get there. Lukey. What is happening? All right. There's the love we're looking for. I need to see some retweets on that stream, though. Where are they at? What's the retweet? Is it recycle? There it is. All right. We're in. SV. Ooh, crowd could be really interesting. Yeah. You know who texted me last week on GME was B Trades. Holy camole. He goes, is this guy really holding? I'm like thinking about this. I'm like, that is wild. Howdy, Foxhound. Yeah. How about that guy, Roaring Kitty, posting over the weekend his 2-point-something million call option. What was it? B Trades posts me or sends me this. Did you guys see it? I just have it on my phone. Deep. Can you see that? Deep fucking value. Jimmy YOLO. What is that? You probably can't see it. It is like 2-point-something million. 2.65 million. He posts that. His YOLO update, and it goes like pre-market like 48 million or something like that, or 48 bucks a share. I'm like, hello, that's wild. That's, I don't know. I don't think he's gonna get in trouble this time because like they already tried that. So well, good for him. Anyways, well, the title of the week is the crypto comeback. This is what happens when you do these things early. It's funny. Last weekend, we make these thumbnails, and over the weekend, if you didn't know, Sleepy Joe decided to veto actually the bill of the ETFs. So he actually vetoed this stuff over the weekend. So we'll see how that plays out. I mean, if you subscribe to the newsletter, by the way, we told you this is a political situation, and my God, is it a political situation? So we'll see how that happens. Immediately, Trump comes out and says, "Look, we will keep your crypto safe." I mean, this is the definition of a political situation. So, we'll see how this goes. It's if you want to stay up to date with a coin trade, even a hood trade, or your Grayscale ETHE, which is my real position on this one. Or if you're long, honestly, if you're long Ethereum, just stay long, right? I don't personally, I don't trade around this stuff. Quite frankly, I'm just long. It's all kind of noise to me because I seriously think that it's just gonna go. But is this being recorded? Yes, this is on YouTube. So the question is from Human. Most of you guys know me from Twitter, but there is a YouTube channel. It is all up on YouTube. If you go to, it's like at search Paper Games Inc. on YouTube, you'll see the channel. Subscribe to the channel. It's all there. You just go into the live tab, and you'll be able to watch all the live ones back later on. Or, but by the way, if you go, we are just launching now. This is my Twitter stream pinned to the Twitter profile. We are launching officially up to the wait list. By the way, we are officially going to be opening this month. If you're in the wait list, you will be let in. You got to click this show more, click this WAP. We will be opening the WAP store. Click this right here. You'll get into the wait list. You will be accepted into the wait list. We're just waiting for a little bit. Mid-month, we're going to open this up. You're going to get in. No matter what. So nobody's going to be denied. We're not going to be like that. But yeah, there will be a monetary benefit to joining via the wait list initially. So go ahead and join via this link right here. And then if you're in the newsletter, by the way, yeah, we talk about a lot of this stuff as we go. But anyways, yeah, we're reopening, so it's gonna be good. So welcome to the new crew for sure. I see you guys signing up through that link, so I appreciate all your support for sure. It's actually pretty exciting. So we've been closed for like 3 months. So happy to see the new blood getting ready to come in. It's gonna be fun, man. Very, very cool. So yeah, I know you guys have been waiting patiently for a long time, and the family is very happy to see you guys ready and waiting. Anyways, so recap. So if you're new to this, what we do every Monday is we kind of like look at what's been happening in the market. There's actually some interesting stuff going on in the market. It's been choppy from a broader index perspective, very choppy, kind of nowhere going. Looks like we're selling off a little bit right now, but at the end of the day, it's still kind of a bull market, right? And what we saw at the end of last Friday was very intriguing. We saw a huge run at the end of at the very last session, end of the month session, right? So today is the first day of a new month. Um, take it for what it is with a little bit of a grain of salt. Last Friday was the last day of the month, and it's very rare to see a candle close at the very low in general, right? So if you're thinking about it from a monthly perspective, if that was the monthly candle closing, how normal is it to see a monthly candle close at the very bottom, right? It's pretty rare. So from that perspective, that makes sense to see a little bit of a bounce. It was a lot of bit of a bounce. And quite frankly, to me, it had a lot to do with also the macro kind of situation. So today we can see a little bit of a retrace, but I would actually kind of tend to stay the course, right? I think we are retesting, kind of pulling back a little bit below those prior all-time highs, that 525 level. Sorry, I'm looking off to the side because I'm looking at some other screens I have open right now, as always. We're going to breach this 525 just a little bit on SPY, SPY, probably come into that 449 spot on the Qs. We'll go over some levels today also. I think it's probably going to be a dip buy at the end of the day. But let's go ahead and hit some macro just a little bit. I don't want to bore you guys too much. So what did we get last week? So it's this GDP, it's the spending, it's the whole kind of like, it's back to the rates, right? It's where a rate's going to land, higher for longer. What's the dollar doing? All that kind of nonsense, right? I know it's boring, but it's super important, right? If we're going to be understanding where's the market to go, right? And keep in mind, this whole time, it is still in an election year, right? And yes, election years tend to get that summer rally. And after this slide, we're going to show you what that 100-year kind of trend looks like. So do not fret, my friends, my family, do not fret, right? So world debt, $315 trillion. Holy what? True story, CNBC headline this morning. Sounds crazy, right? But As inflation goes up, which is or sticks around, which we know, yes, it's sticky, right? That $315 trillion number, quite frankly, guys, is going to mean less and less as inflation goes up. That's actually true, right? So, Goldilocks levels, as scary as this sounds, it's weird to say, right? So, Goldilocks levels of inflation is 2%. And, if you think back 10 years, $1 trillion debt was massive. Now we're looking at $315 trillion. Well, the market's gone up like tenfold since then, right? GDP Q1. So, in parentheses, that's the estimate. The number next to it, that was actually the number that came in. So 1.3% Q1 GDP, estimate 1.3, came in at 1.3. So this is where we get a little sloshy, right? The prior number, 3.4. So if growth was way hot, then that means that spending would have continued to be super hot. And this goes back to inflation, and this is why inflation is so important. If spending is high, then inflation is going to stay high. Why? So inflation and rates are all kind of entangled, right? So if the economy is growing, then the market's going to say, well, the consumer has more money to spend, right? And so if the consumer is spending more money, well, then prices are just going to continue to go up and inflation is going to continue to stay high. And the Fed is going to have no other option than to raise rates to possibly tamper inflation and try to bring it down, and maybe even try to force big business to maybe cut jobs, right? That's kind of like, if you play the tape out, that's what that's going to have to look like. But GDP, the first look that we got was just it's a swag, right? And thankfully it didn't stay that high. 3.4 was like crazy, right? Friends don't let friends make real forecasts on first looks of GDP. That's also true. So 1.3 is, that's fine. So I think it's probably going to stay around this level. It wasn't like it's significantly less than it was before, but it wasn't way below forecast. So we probably kind of level out here. Core price is 3.6%. Consensus coming in at 3.7. Price is still sticky, still high, right? And moving down, so home sales slumping to a 4-year low. This is when we got this number. That was kind of interesting. So when we got this number, what happened was that the home builders actually went higher. Even though the sales are slumping, that means that they can raise prices because the supply is low, right? Home, like RH got a huge pop, Restoration Hardware, because that's like the home improvement centers. Home Depot got a huge pop, pulling that back today a little bit. Mortgage rates climbing past 7%, wild, right? I actually think that if the prices of homes do come down, it may be a decent time to buy. I live in California, by the way. There's some laws passing. Had some high school graduations that we're going to for family and friends, and over the weekend, and people are having a hard time. There was what's the word? Like, there is a law around here where if you were given property via, like, what's the word? If somebody dies and you were passed on property before, you didn't have to inherit inheritance. Like, if you inherited property, you inherited property at that tax rate from like whenever that property was purchased, because the tax rate here for the property tax didn't change until there was a net new sale. But that law changed recently. And so, like, if someone bought a house in California, let's say Silicon Valley, at like $250,000 or like $100,000 in the 1970s, well, that house here now is probably like $5 million, and they're still paying property tax at like $100K. And they're not going to pay property tax at $5 million if they've inherited it. They can't pay the property tax, and there's no such thing as rental income over here. So anyways, all this to say, there's this new flood of inventory coming into my market, which actually may drive some of our prices down in Silicon Valley, believe it or not, because they're just going to have to sell. So weird stuff happening in the Bay. So anyways, maybe keep an eye on that kind of stuff. If there's weird laws happening in very expensive areas, maybe there's something like that in Manhattan. I don't know. Anyways, true story. Fed Williams says higher rates are working in his area or her area. I don't know, boy, girl, whatever. Consumer confidence does raise for the first time in 4 months. That hit on Friday. Personal income estimate 3%. I think it came in at 0.3%. Prior was 0.5%. PCE this we got on Friday also. Core price index estimate consensus 0.3% comes in at 0.2%. Prior was 0.3%. This is spending. So spending actually came down a little bit, did not change the year over year number. So that was more or less flat. That just kind of took us to the close of the week. But again, just really kind of popping us at the very end. So net for the week, GDP was significantly lower than prior. Spending month over month slightly lower, but didn't really make a huge dent in the year over year number. So we got a month end rally. And now we're kind of pulling a lot of that back, which overall makes good sense. So where does that leave us for the week? That leaves us kind of like sticking to the thematic kind of moves. I think a lot of these things are going to stay range bound for a while. So if we got some big pops off the bottom, specifically in that big tech thing, big tech kind of area, I'm thinking about Microsoft. I'm thinking about some things like that. I want to kind of stay to that range bound scenario, right? That said, for the broader index, this is that 100-year data set of the presidential cycle, right? So we're a little bit further, right? This is June, and that's where we are. So we're actually pretty close to the bottom. I think if this 100-year data set is to stay true, this should be the dip. Believe it or not, this should be the dippy dip. And I think of the dips that I'm looking at right now, the best dip that I'm seeing at this moment in time today is actually Amazon. So I've already bought the dip on Apple. I think the Apple stays disconnected as we go into WWDC next week. We will look at that chart. I do not want to buy next week's contracts for Apple. I think that makes the run this week, and WWDC is a little bit of a sell the news event. So I'm in it now, and I'm going to ride her. But I think this Amazon dip is very intriguing. So I do like that the most. But this is where we're looking. As far as the week is concerned, a nothing burger today, really nothing burger tomorrow. It's the JOLTS number is a bit of an intraday mover for sure. Wednesday we do have ISM services PMI, and then we have oil status report. So we did get an OPEC plus meeting over the weekend. Ends up being nothing burger type of trade. A lot of the oil move that we saw on Friday end up being the move. So we'll have to see what happens on Wednesday if there's some type of reversion there. But I don't want to open any net new oil trades until Wednesdays is behind us. So we'll have to see. Usually ends up being a Thursday, Friday type trade anyways. But ISM services PMI is a market moving event, has been lately. So we want to keep an eye on that. That might be a good pivot day to keep on watch. Thursday, jobless claims and labor costs can be market moving, nothing major. ISM services up to Friday is going to be the biggest day. So I know today is the first day of the month technically, but for me, for your boy, you guys should know by now, Friday, Non Farm Payrolls Day, really 9 out of 10 times will mark the high or the low for the entire month. So this is the day that you want to get your pencils and papers out. This is the day that you want to jot down on your charts. The high and the low of this Friday is going to be the trend setting day for the entire month, right? So what that means is that it's not, so that day, this coming Friday, we trade just like a normal day, right? Opening range high, opening range low, just like a normal day, pre-market high, pre-market low, from the moment that the market receives the data. So that means including pre-market data. So, but the following week, after Friday's session is over, that's when we start to see the real trend play out. So that doesn't mean that we swing through the weekend. Usually we don't. If it's a huge move on Friday, that might mean that we do see a lot of chop for the following week. but it really means that we got to make Friday count. So Friday is the most important day of the week by far, right? So be there Friday, show up, make Friday count. We don't swing past Friday, but we pay freaking very close attention. But you make Friday count because it may be the last day that we get that really counts. So show up, suit up, be there Friday. It's going to be a big day, hopefully a big day, and it's going to set the trend for the remainder of the month for sure. All right. So that said, that's what we got on deck for the week from an economic data perspective. Earnings season is more or less done. We do have one big one. So somebody mentioned CrowdStrike does report after the close. That's a big one. From a software perspective, CrowdStrike is a software company. I'll just say that the software sector has been getting destroyed lately. I would not, if you're not familiar with CrowdStrike, I would not put Crowd in the same category as the one. It's not like a MongoDB. It's not like a Snowflake. So I'm going to tell you personal experience. I come from enterprise tech. Look, it should not be put in the same bucket as the rest, right? If you don't know, you don't know. But if you do know, you know. It shouldn't. CrowdStrike is very much like a Zscaler. So it's very much like a Palo Alto. Uh, it's gonna be different, right? It's a security software. The ones that are getting toasted, like CRM, Snowflake, things like that, they're not security plays. Security is a whole kind of breed of its own. It's not dispensable, right? Just so you know, like crowd should not be put in the same kind of bucket, right? So that said, there's a plus for crowd. Don't it may get shellacked, but it would be for different reasons. It's not going to be because like they're not able to monetize AI. That's for sure. So don't put them in the same bucket. I'll just tell you that. HPE actually really interesting to me. So we can look at the charts of HPE. I think we should. You guys saw the Dell like run up. HPE is not too dissimilar to Dell. And the chart is not didn't nearly have the same kind of love that Dell did. I guess I should look at it today. We'll look at it in a little bit. Hopefully, it hasn't had the same run. You guys will tell me now. But it plays in the same space. It's not as good as Dell. But there are a lot of large HP integrators out there, and it does a lot, right? It's gonna be behind Dell in terms of like best of breed. It's not best of breed, but it's pretty damn good, right? I'll just say that. So it might get a little love. I don't think it's going down. That's for sure. So there's that. Those are the two I'd actually be pretty interested in. I don't know these guys. Always barking outlet. Always. I got a soft spot for Ollie's for sure. Ruru Ramon. Ooh, yeah. I think you know, if I traded directional earnings stuff a lot. Anyways, we're gonna stay away from that. What else do we have on deck? Couchbase. I don't know this one. I feel like I should. Actually, do you guys know Couchbase? I feel like I should know this. I do know Smartsheet. These are small potatoes for sure. Oh, and Victoria's Secret, Retail Renaissance. This is the craziest chart. VSCO. Talk about like a chart that has been on blast off. You guys should just look at the chart. Just look at the chart and you'll be like, holy crap. Just look at the chart. Anyways, that's all I'm gonna say about that. What else? Zoomies, DocuSign. IoT is hardware. It's been the year of hardware. That's all I'll say. Samsara it's not a joke company. It's a big company. Yeah, I don't see a whole lot other that's jumping out on me. So, anyways, Lulu always. Yeah, Lulu's a big earnings mover. Not a joke. I might jump and take a look at that in a little bit. Let's see. Where's my thing? You know what? But But anyways, let's do this. I got Miss Cleo pinging me on on the other line here. So let's go ahead and take a look real quick. One sec. Alrighty. So it is time for everybody's favorite segment. She's been a little funky lately, but she always delivers a little something something. I do like this. And I will get to the chart request for sure. But we can't leave Miss Cleo out, guys. We just can't. So here's the reading for the week, right? Theme card on the top, days of the week on the bottom. Ooh, what is that? That's the aces. And I haven't looked at this yet. So Knight of Swords is the theme card. We got Seven of Wands, Four of Wands, King of Swords, the Emperor, and an Ace of Swords. Let's get into this. I don't even know how to read this without Sharky. He's our man usually. Oops. There it is. All right. So, theme card is the Knight of Swords. We have an ace. We have a 9 ace Knight of Swords, which seems to indicate some kind of connection. 9 to ace would be a closing move, but ace to Knight backtracks from that. Perhaps this week sends us the opposite way than last week did. Also, this is the card we got Friday. We did. Friday was a good card. Well, Friday was a good move, which gave us a gap up that was sold and then bought back to flat after lunch. Maybe we'll see more of that this week. Oh, so sell off early, then that actually makes perfect sense to me. One thing is for sure, there will be a lot of strong energy, some decent trade setups. Let's see what the daily cards say. All right, so Monday, 8 of Wands. All right, Wands are impulsive. This card brings a lot of movement, so it's on its own. So looks for wild day. This card is historically bearish. Well, she's right so far. Day doesn't always start that way. Well, it did today. I wouldn't be surprised if switch modes multiple times throughout. Nope. 8 coming in from a night. There's not much to follow in terms of progress or series. Just do your best not to get shaken out. Tuesday, 4 of Wands. That's tomorrow. Is the homecoming card. Usually arrives after a test of support. So test of support tomorrow, and then decent bounce turnaround Tuesday. Perhaps Monday gives us that test, and if not, overnight Tuesday. As you might expect, it's positive historically, so this fits the theme. Turnaround Tuesday, Miss Cleo is calling. All right. Ooh, we are daily ranges already. Okay. It's positive historically, so this fits the theme. Going from 8 to 4 may signal that backtracking in questions is upside rather than downside. Buying dips Tuesday. It might even be today because this is pretty low, King of Swords for Wednesday. Now we got a royal appearing out of nowhere, and a strong one at that. The King of Swords carries a sharp weapon that easily cuts through support. Oh, and resistance if we're battling to break out or hold the line. Then today is the day we break through. In the many years we've drawn this card, it has never been negative. Oh, okay. Bounce, right? For stocks. Let's hope that this trend continues. Treat it as a trend day. Either way, no fade, just momentum. Trend day Wednesday. Okay. Note that this is the same suit of the theme card, so this pair will likely team up for some big energy. Look for the same on Friday. I like it. Thursday, Emperor. That's ISM Services Day. Okay. Thursday, Emperor. The number of historically positive cards here is starting to surprise me. Emperor is a structure to chaos, repairs poor market structure by retracing one directional moves. He too is positive most of the time, but I don't want to get lulled into false sense of security. This could be a week of massive rallying, but the Knight of Swords usually fades mid-session. This is around that time. Also, we've been under a lot of heat lately, so I struggle to believe it will just disappear. Perhaps it's the result of end-of-month options clearing. Really? The table that I didn't really pay attention to that stuff. So I struggle to believe it will just disappear. Perhaps it's the result of okay. I'll say this. In the times we've had this card, it's only been negative once, and it was a small red candle. I think we may see a transition, continuation, King, Emperor. The King may bring some chaos, and the Emperor will settle it down. So retracement and chance to buy dips. Okay, so bounce, continuation, and then inside day is what she's saying. Friday, Ace of Swords. Last Friday gave us the Knight of Swords, and now we get the Ace. Okay. I've already recapped last Friday's action above, so I won't rehash it here. Just note that the price action may be similar. Also, as mentioned above, Wednesday will likely offer a clue for today's price action, so keep that in mind. So Friday will be the same as Wednesday, she's saying. As you might guess, this one is also historically bullish, so there's a chance of more upside, but I would treat this as a trend card and just follow momentum regardless. So she's saying down today, base in the afternoon, maybe, possibly tomorrow morning, then up, rest, up. Okay. This week has a chance mostly upside, but I'm still cautious. Let's see what the energy looks like on Monday and watch the bounce Tuesday. It may set up for a Wednesday, Friday trend that will be worth trading. Okay, Miss Cleo. Let's see. All right, let's go to the setup. So right now, I'm looking at some bloody price action. So far, she is right. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to, before I get into the actual charts, this orange box, if you guys don't know, this is an average week's range. Believe it or not, boys and girls, we have already traversed half of an average week's range. Is that wild? And a full daily range to the downside. So if I'm looking at this is Friday's bounce, right? That was, if you don't know, so right now, what's true is that the bounce Friday was an entire average week's range. And so I would say, hey, look, it's time to rest for a little bit from SPY's perspective. But let's do this real quick. Let's take a quick fib. I have this set on extension because I was trading Apple this morning. Ooh, look at that. So from Friday's low to this morning's high, we are sitting at a 50% fib retrace. So just a little bit more tomorrow would take us to 522 on SPY. And this is Thursday's pre-market lows right in here. So right into this little box right here. This looks like a juicy little spot. And if you know me, if this is the last low, the low right before the low is this. Becomes what we call like a price of interest. Right in here. So this is your, we're going to call this golden pocket right here. So a little bit more, probably tomorrow you get into this. That looks like a juicy buy. Honestly, anything in here from here down would be really good. Be a nice little dip buy off of that retracement from yesterday. So if we base later this afternoon, maybe get a little liquidity flush tomorrow, that's a solid dip buy to me. And if we pull this back just a little bit, oh, look at this confluence, you guys. Hello. That's some decent confluence. So we're retesting this break right here. So break of structure, all of this. Yeah, I like this defensive area. So this entire structure here, we're really just like defending. So there's a lot of built up tension here. That was that push out, pull back. So breakout, retesting here on that Friday low. So it made sense just from a technical perspective why we bounced last Friday right at that spot at the S&P. Yeah, what is that, Cam? Look at you, paper. What's up, Cam? What are you looking at? So 520, yeah, 520. There you go, right? So bingo, bango, bongo. So 50%. So what's true here, though, right? Just because of 50% retracement doesn't mean we want to buy, right? We want to see a candlestick setup, 2 to 3 candlestick setup, right? So I'm usually going to drop down. You have a bounce play. This is a quick option bounce play. Doesn't mean it's like swingable just yet. Oh my God. Did I lie? You guys, is it going? Son of a bitch. Okay. Sorry. Whatever. Okay. So anyways, now you see, now you don't, because she got, anyways, you guys see, that's how we do things over at Paper Gains. But yeah, it's a nice retracement right there, right into this kind of volume shelf. Anything in here, I think, is going to be good. Whether or not it swings now, you got to wait to the close really to see how things are actually closing, right? That's also what's true. That's SPY right there. Again, 50%. This is a full week's range right here. If that's the lows, let's say an average week's range to the upside would probably bring it to 540, something like that, right to the top of this. And then, this has been, I'm going to drop this back to a 30-minute. If we do get over this guy, what I'm going to do really quick is I'm going to take this little block, I call order block. So this day was Thursday. So last Thursday we opened right here and we got some trades in out of the gate, but we left what's called the fair value gap, right? Super early. No trades were really able to get off. So anybody that was in this pre area here, they're stuck, right? So 533 spot 70, there's some stuck traders up there. So price is going to kind of want a magnet up there. Down here, we are looking at a trend line from this connect, bouncing right up here. So this would be normal actually to pull back, drop a little bit, and kind of bounce up here. If we get over that 533 spot 70, it's kind of like boom time. Could get a little wild, little rippy. Don't really know what's going to happen. But let's do this, right? So if that's the congestion zone here, right? What I'm going to do, and I'll just give this to you guys. Oops. I went backwards. Well, let's give you some extensions from the open. It's going to be 538 spot 50 maximum. That is also an average week's range to the full upside and a 1.5 fib extension. Maximum upside for the entire week. 538 spot 50 max. No more, right? Does it go more? Sure. But does it hold? No, not likely. Cool. Very cool. We used to say that all the time. That's how you do it, right? Average week's range, here we go, right? Same thing, upside, 465 spot 50. If you do get all the way up, we're fighting this 20-day simple moving average. Also, retest, all-time high here, right? Is this going to be probably a retest? So this, by the way, NFP levels, this is how important they are. This is March NFP high, 448 spot 63, comes back to this day right here. Pretty much the only lines I have are all-time highs and NFP highs on my charts, if you didn't notice, right? On SPY, where this low was Friday, is the NFP high, 518.22. This is how important these levels are, guys. When they come into play, they come into play heavy all the time, right? So this is what you're going to do next Friday. You're going to mark the high and you're going to mark the low of that day from when the market receives the data, and it's going to stay on your chart forever, because they're that important, right? And they play out just like that all the time. All right. So the Qs, right? So Qs upside, full average week's range to the upside, 465 spot 50. That's probably going to be the same kind of like extension. I'm going to take some of these automated ones off. The April NFP high ends up being the low of Friday. We're bouncing off March NFP high, which is probably going to be another retracement right now. Of course, I have this extension. Yeah, it's a 50% retracement right now. A golden pocket retracement, 447 spot 3. And probably a back test also. But right now, I think Qs is in a little bit better spot. I got a lot of confluence, right? 20-day simple moving average, daily simple moving average, average daily range to the downside, 50% retracement here, all-time high, prior all-time high retest from here. It's decent, right? It's a decent retest. I kind of like that one the best. Yeah, Apple just got a full opening range retest too. Sorry, looking off to the side. Atlanta Fed Q2 GDP now 1.8 down from yeah, exactly. So that this is Austin. This is what I'm talking about. So those first looks. So first of all, we get like 3 revisions on GDP. So the first one's just a swag, right? And then the second one is like whatever, right? And by the time we get the next one, it's going to be very similar to this one. Might even be a little bit lower, but yeah, it's the first one always is like a market shaking, but like I said, friends don't let friends make real forecasts on first looks. They're if the Fed was good at forecasting GDP, we'd be in totally different places. Totally different places. But again, same thing, right? So the market, so Q's also made an average week's range within a 48-hour period. It's due for some rest. Do I expect these guys to like make like giant moves right away? I do not. So while Miss Cleo says it's ready to rip and roll, I do think it's more of like a later move, right? So I'm not jumping to make any major moves at the moment, right? I think we get some little bouncies and we probably chop around a little bit. So you could probably, I would look at this and be like, okay, more scalp, and then let it kind of base out, bounce around, find its footing, and then go before it really, really takes off. But I do like the general bounce playing overall. Currently, gold's getting a nice little rip to the upside. The dollar here really to me is pretty interesting. So losing its 200-day simple moving average, this is ideally the best, right? I was getting some hate mail over the week. It's funny. Like dollar was running higher. Honestly, I looked at this. I'm like, this is not sustainable. Like it can do what it wants to do, but it's not. I mean, when it's this high, I'm like, it's gonna come down. It looks like it's going up, but I don't think it stays this high. I just didn't, right? And same thing with the yields, right? Up at the high end of the range, 4.6 something. It's at the high end of the range. It's gonna come down, and so here we are. TNX 10-year yield coming down, right? Coming back down to me, likely to the low end of this range. Overall, that I think plays out the best in this IWM trade. And so last week I had some DMs were like, I didn't realize I was being like overly bullish. I wasn't intending to be overly bullish. Quite frankly, I was confident that we would get a bounce, but my trades were IWM. If you didn't know, if you knew, then you were in the servers and you would have known that, hey, look, my trade was in IWM. I think that the larger broadening out, is going to show up here, right? And when I say broadening out, we look at like RSP, right? And what I did want to touch on before I get to the charts, and I will right after this, is that we saw, I have another chart here that's like all the industries, right? So you have to look at what's really happening under the hood. And yesterday, Friday, we saw like semis were really, really soft, right? But we saw, this is healthcare having some pretty good bounces. We saw oil having a huge bounce. We saw this is retail, big bounce and continuation today. XOP ends up having a massive pullback today. And transports, IYT is transports, had a huge bounce and then pull back today, but basing, and I think now ready to rocket. So, overall, I think healthcare, if you look at a larger view, let's say daily, I think healthcare stays really good. Look at this chart, daily chart. This is just a retest, right? I like this. This is broadening out, right? And so I think what we start to see from here is like lagging sectors start to catch up. Staples, retail, guys, retail. This looks really healthy, right? Really healthy. Does it like explode? I don't know, but I think this is a case of the laggards catching up for the remainder of the year, maybe faster than the leaders have been leading, possibly. So not to say that the semis don't continue to lead, they might, but I think that the laggards get a really good, is that Frankie? That the laggards get a really good bid. There were some like REITs, like I haven't seen today. Boston Properties was my REIT. CRE. We've been talking about the CRE like pending doom for 2 years. At least Frankie has, but we haven't seen it yet. So this is where I'm like, this is sus now, right? Change occurring under the hood. Yeah, this is the change, right? So like, where's this implosion on the commercial real estate? I don't know. It's supposed to happen. It's not happening. More or less priced in, right? Sorry. Oh, realty income. It doesn't mean like, look, it might happen, but like, I don't know. But like at a certain point, the market's going to get frustrated of waiting for it to happen, and these stocks are going to explode. I don't know, right? AC emergency at a job site. At a job site, AC emergency. I don't know, right? But they're discounts for sure right now. We'll see. We shall see. Anyways, all that to say, there's a broadening happening overall, right? And so I think IWM, if we see things like KRE, which had a big bounce, continue to base or maybe even catch a bid, this is what we want to see. Today, IBB, again, it's a big boom out of the gate, pullback. If this couple day trend continues, look at this. If this continues, like, this is going to be huge. That's what you got to watch, right? So, anyways, apologies for my rant. Let's get into the charts, you guys. So I know everybody was asking about snow. Snow had a security breach over the weekend or last week. So let's take a goose and a gander. My thoughts on Snow. Number one, Snow is one where it does go into an investment phase. Snow's new CEO, before we really get deep into the weeds here, new CEO comes in. He's a product guy. He's a good guy. He's a smart guy. He's a product guy. So he's there to build out new product sets for the company. They're in an investment phase. He's not the evangelist. He's not the visionary. So you have to have a multi-year view on Snow, in my humble opinion. That said, are they worth a look? Sure, let's take a look. I'm looking at a very long-term chart, first of all. So this, if I were just to look at this screenshot, like just this here, does not look good, right? Like just this view of this looks like a Wyckoff distribution. This looks like Wyckoff distribution, straight up. But when would Wyckoff distribution be invalidated? It would be here. There. This wick. This is chunky. Let me get this little. I gotta take these off. This is really hard, you guys. See, this base. Okay, 131.12. So it has to be, because it wasn't this. 142 is breached, so it has to be 131.12. If you're playing with fire, that's what it has to be. 131.12. You breach 131.12. It's got to be 122.77. Super minuscule in there. That's where it is. So this low breached. So this is the low, I guess. This is like so wiki, you guys. It's super wicky. I mean, you kind of just have to go, right? Like you got all of this. This is not really chartable, to be fair. I don't like charting this. Yeah, even accumulation in here is over 150s. All of this, like even these small accumulations, it's over 160s. So like snow is not in an uptrend, no matter how you slice this, unless it's over 160. There's just no way to say that any other way. It's just not. It's just not. So that's what it is. Snow is not in an uptrend. Any way you slice this, unless it's over 160, no way, no how. Otherwise, it's a discount if you're buying it under 160 with a 3 to 5 year time horizon, you'll have to buy it under 160. You cannot buy it over 160. That's how you have to look at it. And the deeper under 160, I would look at Datadog, because when she gets way down there, you're looking like the 80s, if that makes sense. Okay, cool. Let me get back up. So that was my on snow for human and a couple of the other guys. I think it was Austin. Let me scroll all the way up. Always fun. And Amit had Uber. So we'll go look at Uber. Uber is in transport. So Uber, I still Uber. So there's last volume shelf here. You just saw it right here. I think you stay long Uber. I think you stay long Uber either with equity or lots of time, a lot more time. Last ad's going to be around that 160s level, right into this, right there, right? 161-ish type level, right on Uber. So stay long Uber with time or equity for sure. That's where I am on Uber. Uber is like one of those where like, here's the channel that we're in. She started to break out, didn't do it. So she can go a little bit lower, continue to build for me on Uber. Lower by Wednesday. Da, da. Do I like the SPY gold comparison? You know what, Austin, if you're still around, SPY gold comparison is kind of, I haven't checked that out. What I will say is, I used to watch the gold dollar comparison, and that bad boy is out the door, right? And that's funny to me because I used to be like, oh, dollar's going down, and like, so maybe I'll go long gold, and like, or like, the dollar's going up, maybe I'll short the dollar. That's detached for sure. So maybe I'll take a look at the SPY gold comparison, because I think gold goes up when SPY goes up now. So Duolingo, look at you. So you guys, Baidu, Duolingo. So I'm not a China guy, but I will say that if nothing else, Chinese stocks, Chinese equities are 100% driven by technicals. In which case they'd say down. Dang. A couple years ago, I would have said like Chinese stocks, like if you're like Chinese people invest in real estate a couple years ago, but that's not been working out. So shit. This is Baidu. Wow, they got shellacked too. So this is not working. Baidu. I didn't realize that I got so toasted. So this is the same thing. Baidu needed to hold 96 level. So this is like this. So here's the last low. So in order for this low to work, so in order for a low to hold, right, it has to hold the low before the low. And otherwise, you are definitively looking at least a double bottom, which means that at least it's coming here. But more likely than not, it's going to breach this. So it's going lower. Or it's going lower than it is now, but it's at least going a little bit lower. Is it a short? Honestly, no, because it's not the juice is not necessarily worth the squeeze, not on that big of a candle, because it's going to hit this and then it's going to have an inside candle. And then you'll see what happens next. So I'd wait on Baidu and see what Baidu do next, to be fair. So a trade might set up on Baidu, because like it'll get like this big down and then you'll get an inside, maybe two insides, and then see what Baidu do, because you never know. She could be a bounce, she could be a short, but wait on these guys. The thing about these Chinese stocks is that they go they make a lot of moves overnight. Duolingo, did I spell that wrong? Did I type it wrong? DUOL. Duolingo is tech. I feel like this is Chinese tech, though. Am I wrong? Yeah, I'm not wrong. Okay. I mean, this looks good. Looks quite nice. What's the market cap here? 8.5. It's in a sweet spot from a market cap perspective. There's a nice retest. Earnings coming on the 24th of August. Okay, it's in a sweet spot for earnings run up. It's a sweet spot from a technical perspective. I think this is a good one. So Duolingo, Sai. No, that was Baidu. Oh, so who is this? I think you got this one. This one looks good. So Duolingo, nice little consolidation. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-day consolidation off a nice gap up. It's about to go here. You don't have a clean one. So what I want to see for real continuation, you have a little blip over. What I really want to see is this is one you want to watch in the pre-market. So I want to see a day where the day opens full in the pre-market over this level. So if the day in the pre-market is over 196.86, that's the go, right? If the daily pre-market level is not over 196.86, it's kind of like I'm still in this chop zone. Otherwise, I would just wait, right? If the pre-market is over that on this guy, it's a go. It's a hammer long, and she goes. Your next target on this guy is 205.25, and you're just gonna go candle wick to wick, right? Boom, boom. I wouldn't necessarily go shooting for the moon out of the gate, because this is a little sketchy. But so it's a sweet spot for a couple different things. At least the dip buy initially, which I didn't catch this. If you did, great. Double bottom here is a good catch, right? Very good catch. That's the continuation, though, right? So the continuation is a clean open above, and that's how you're going to know. And today is your breaching above, but it's not a clean open above. So you want to see a clean open above that 197.21 or 196.98. I'm sorry. So basically, clean open above 197 and clean close above, you're good to go, right? If it's a clean open but not clean close above, TBD. Definite watch. So clean open and close above 197, you're happy, and then you just want to monitor that you're closing above, and you can ride that trend. That looks like a really good one. Timing is good because you're about 3 weeks away from earnings, so you're in that sweet spot August. So you're in that kind of pre-earnings run up into earnings. So that's actually a really good one. Couple for Tesla. Kevin's asking Tesla. Tesla. Tesla, buddy. So Tesla has a catalyst on deck. I think, quite frankly, I think Tesla goes into a holding pattern right now, because of this fundamental situation. It's got the shareholder vote that's going to be dilution, definitively. So that's something to be mindful of. You're at the kind of near the top of this kind of downside wedge. It's as this gets smaller and smaller, like, yes, we broke out of the smaller one, right? And we went higher, but now where to go, right? That's the question, right? This is done. This is done. I think you're kind of capped near term. This is not looking good at the moment. Quite frankly, I would not be taking. This is going to be one of those where, like, I will say technically it doesn't look like a long, but you're going to get a headline any day, and this is going to move the stock one way or the other. It's a speculation play. I don't know which way it's going to go. So I can't chart this thing. This is not really going to be technical right now, unfortunately for me, man. So I have to take a pass on that one. Bitcoin gold. You know what? Yeah, is Bitcoin gold is interesting. Isn't as high. You know what? No, yeah, I'm a Bitcoin owner and I'm a gold owner. CRM. I will gladly, May take a look at CRM. So sorry, man. I got to take a flyer on Tesla at the moment. I think she goes on holding pattern until we get that vote. So CRM, we had there was the move to 240. After that 231, kapow, right? So 231 was here. Sorry, here. This is that pre-market pivot we were looking at. Twink. Right there. 231 was that pre-market pivot right there. I would probably give it a little bit of a buffer to 229. So we want to watch this 229 type level on CRM. She can kind of back test this. I would be super cautious on CRM because if this goes, you have this secondary pivot that's right here. So CRM, I think you go into this major holding pattern right now. That's gonna last for 3 weeks. It's really normal for this to happen. And I think you could sell a lot of premium on this guy because you'll probably get this fib to fib type level. Is it tradable? Sure. But look, from this low to that high, 50%. So it's going to be this golden pocket. 222 is going to be that next kind of like buy spot. I think you accumulate this. If you do get a full blown flusher, 208 is my next level. I think CRM is a buy. Anytime you see it below 220, like the deeper it is to 195, that to me was a buy. This 218 level is where I have it. But the larger accumulation on CRM is right in here, right? So that's why I had CRM as long-term buys. Sorry. In here, you're hitting this kind of accumulation here. So I think that she can kind of retrace into this level. She probably could breach down in there, but that 208.40 is this level right here. So can she bounce play here? It's kind of like this prior half gap and this tag and this resistance from way back when. That's what that is. So while she looked good from a bounce perspective, I would actually kind of table my emotions on expecting a massive turnaround just yet and just wait for a while and be very patient with something like this. So I wouldn't get over my skis just yet because post earnings, number one, you got to have this massive IV burn off. So all options are going to be super inflated. Just um, I would be maybe more of a seller of puts on CRM um, than anything because be patient. It's a great company, extremely sticky. Don't believe what you hear. They sticky. They sticky, sticky, sticky. Here's that last little leg down on the broader index that we're looking at right now. Here's a good question. Is Walgreens a buy at 14? No, it's a short, my friend. So it's a short. Here's the question. Is Walgreens a buy at 14? No, it's a short. Is CVS a buy? No, it's a short. Um, so we had this discussion in our server. I don't think these are buys. I think they're going to zero. When you think about it, like first of all, like these are going, these are shutting down around my area, but you know, like we have Kaiser. A lot of these large hospitals are going direct, like they have their pharmacies in their hospitals. um Target's got pharmacies, Walmart's got pharmacies, Costco's got pharmacies. Like what are the pharmacies gonna what do they have those for? And at the same time, like what else do they sell groceries. Can they be competitive on grocery? Can they be competitive on consumer electronics? No. What's their edge? No. Right. And then like, okay, are they competitive with like other what they call C stores like seven? No. So like I think they go the way of the Rite Aids and the Rads. So no, I don't think so. Um and Frankie said Nvidia is about to split. Yeah, doing its own thing for sure. Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, big dog. I don't think it's a buy. Love you, bud. I know. Yeah, this Walgreens thing, I think is a big value trap. I really do. I really, really do, you guys. I think it's a huge value trap. SLV daily. You take a look at that. I mean, the dollar down thing. I think so. SLV, I think hit targets. Let's be real. I think it goes back to accumulation. I think it's going to crack. Huh. I think it's going to crack. Do I think it cracks right now? No, but I think it will crack. So I think you need either the equity or you need a lot of time. Spy knifed. Yeah, all targets. What's the Teddy? By the way, Teddy Rubskin on Twitter is like him and Fraggle are amazing follows. If you ever need comedic relief, these guys crack me up on a daily, so I love you. All targets by me have CVS in them. Yeah. Oh man. Oh, that was a good point. But how else are they going to survive? How else are they going to survive? For sure. So good on CVS for acknowledging. All right, guys. That's a wrap for me. I will go hop in some spaces. I'll see you out there. And just so you know, yes, we are accepting new entries. Enrollment. See you then.